Hello, Michael Irish Football Fan TV. This is the final word. A bit of a new look here in the studio. Republic of Ireland 4, Qatar 0. I'm with Gary Spain, and Andy McNulty's joined us in studio. Obviously, Andy was with us for the last final word in the last international window, and he's joined us in studio. We said to get him in because it did sound a little bit like you were underwater, just with your sound over the internet, obviously. But we said we get you in because we thought what you were saying was quite insightful, and we said we get you in. So thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, we're obviously still buzzing. We did our videos last night, Gary. But I actually never really got a chance to ask you about the lineup. So I have it written down here with me. So the lineup that you went for, we knew he was going for Kelleher. I'm just going to turn this more into me here. We knew he was going to go with Kelleher in goal. He said that in the press conference. He went with the same back three: Omobamidele, Duffy, Egan. Then he went good to see Enda Stevens back in, and then Matt Doherty, Conor Howerton in for Josh Cullen, who was obviously injured, Jeff Hendrick, and then Jamie McGrath came in as well, with Callum Robinson and Chiedozie Ogbene coming in after scoring the other night. So were you shocked when you saw this lineup, or?
No, I mean, I think we had talked about it. We expected it was a reasonably strong lineup. I wasn't expecting wholesale changes. I mean, Enda Stevens is arguably our first choice left wing back anyway. Caoimhín Kelleher, it was good to give him a shout out. It may well look, we're very well stocked in goalkeeping position anyway, and even Mark Travers is having a fine season as well. So playing with the same back three, given the understanding. A little bit surprised Shane Duffy was captain ahead of John Egan. John Egan got the armband in Baku, but I don't know what the thinking was there. Conor Howerton in for Josh Cullen. I mean, I think Josh is probably our automatic sitting midfielder at this stage, but it's good to get a look at Conor. And I was delighted to see Jamie McGrath start because he did so well in the second half in Baku. And Dozie Ogbene, who made a real impression when he came on for the last half an hour as well. So I thought he deserved a first start, and that's my Limerick bias coming in as well, because I'm obviously a big fan since we had him at the Markets Field. But I was impressed with the lineup. What I would say is it was a very attacking lineup, and obviously from the way the game panned out from the very start, we really went for the jugular right from the start. But yeah, so I don't think we'll see that much of an attacking lineup against Portugal. But yeah, for the game that was in it, I was very happy with it.
Andy, what were your thoughts when you saw the lineup announced?
Yeah, more or less the same. I think it was a good opportunity to go a little bit more attacking, and as it panned out, it was a good decision. But look, it's a good opportunity for some of those, especially as Gary mentioned there with Kelleher. Okay, he didn't have a hell of a lot to do, but it's a great experience for him to get in there and to get in and around and get some minutes. I would expect a more sort of solid and defensive unit against Portugal, but it's good for these lads to get more minutes and to get more experience in an Ireland shirt. And look, they've done. I think everybody's done themselves justice over the last 2 games, and they've really put their hands up now to be picked in the next couple of games in the qualifiers.
Yeah, I think even off the back of the Serbia result, that was quite a decent result as well. We seem to be carrying momentum. I know it's hard to carry momentum in international football, as we've seen in the last probably 3 years. It's been hard to get any sort of a run going. So the fact that we went unbeaten now in this international window, we've gone with 2 wins. We've got 2 really good results with lots of goals. Seven goals in 2 games. Callum Robinson has obviously got his hat trick, and I suppose we'll just start there. I mean, Enda Stevens with a short throw in their half. Callum Robinson comes to collect it. He plays a 1-2 with Jamie McGrath, and he plays another 1-2 with Callum Robinson. And before you know it, it's in the back of the net. I was in the toilet, but you got to see it live. So, could you believe your eyes when you saw it going in?
Yeah, well, it was a fantastic start. But I think even this was only the 3rd minute, I know, but right from the kickoff, we really went for them. I said this in my 3 talking points: the intensity, and we played at a pace that they just couldn't live with. And we just, especially the first 15 minutes, we really went for them, I thought, with a real controlled aggression, kind of a mix of what we want to see in the passing, skillful football, modern day football, but also with the old Irish aggression and up and at 'em as well. And it was a lovely mix of that. And I haven't seen as good a 15 minutes, as good a start from an Irish team since, I don't know, I can't even think how far back you'd be going for that. So yeah, it was a brilliant start, a great way to score as well in the third minute, which obviously was a huge confidence boost.
Yeah, well, did you see the goal, Andy?
Yeah. It's great when you start a game like that. You know, if you could go 1-0 up within the first 5 minutes of every game, it just settles everyone down. It kind of, you can get your foot on the ball and really grow into the game. But I think, as Gary mentioned there, the energy in the first 15 minutes is what we're looking for. You know, you want to really start off on the right foot, and it was great to see that. And I think we sensed in the game that, you know, these are here for the taking. So it really set the tone early doors. You know, 3 minutes in, get the goal, and then they just kicked on from there, in fairness to them, you know.
Yeah, well, I think we shell shocked them. I said it as well after the game to you. I was just like, you know, we were at them so much that they couldn't get out. They didn't know what to do. And Howard has a chance in the 10th minute there. He crosses the ball in to Ogbenny, and if he's just there maybe a second, I know he's a quick boy, but if he was there just that second quicker, he probably gets on the end of that and scores. He probably wasn't expecting that cross to come in, but I thought Howard started the game well. He started at a good tempo, because he's notoriously kind of slow starting games, and as you said, you know, it was important to start the game off strong. But then he was the one that intercepts the goal kick. Like, the keeper gives it short to that fellow who kept trying to wrestle. I think it was Husam kept trying to wrestle Shane Duffy. And he hits a ball diagonally, and Howard intercepts it then. And then I have it there, like, he gets the ball then to McGrath, and he shows great, what I said earlier, I tweeted it earlier saying, you know, he was that bit more streetwise to get the penalty, because he was outside the box, but when he shifted the ball, he put his leg in the box purposely, because he knew he was getting fouled, and he bought the penalty. And I think if we had more players doing that more often, I know players will say Aaron Connolly goes down a good bit and stuff like that, but he does it so obviously. I thought Jamie McGrath was very smart about it. He bought the penalty well. The crowd, you know, did influence the decision, I felt, as well, because everyone shouted penalty, and he took a couple of seconds and then he gave it. And then obviously Callum Robbins took it, but I thought Jamie McGrath maybe was unlucky not to get the chance to take it.
I think if you watch it back, and I thought even Callum was Jamie, I think, had his hands on the ball, and I think he planned on taking it, and as you know, he does take them for St. Mirren.
Yeah.
Callum was over, I'm taking that, and he more or less took him off. So I don't know whether what was agreed beforehand, but I don't think anyone was stopping. But Callum was on, at that stage, he'd already got 3 goals, and that was number 4. And look, the only thing I would say is, when you do what Callum did, you better score, because and of course he did.
Well, he was in red hot form as well.
He was in red hot form, and he sent the keeper the wrong way, so you can't have any arguments there.
Well, yeah, 2-0 up in first 15 minutes, but I just want to come to you, Andy. Do you know, I feel as though we don't see that enough from our players, that little bit of, you know, nous to just buy yourself the foul. Like, it's easy to buy yourself a foul anywhere else in the pitch. It's obviously really hard to do it in the box to win your team a penalty, but I just think he's brilliant, a ball carrier. He doesn't lose the ball. He's intelligent. He links the midfield and attack. What are your thoughts on him? And obviously that move then.
Yeah, well, like, obviously just in relation to the penalty, it's sort of a feature of the game nowadays. You know, you get yourself into a position, you kind of leave a hanging leg and
draw the defender.
Yeah, and if the defender is slow enough, or is foolish enough, if you want, to leave a leg out there, then attackers will go over. I know some people are sort of sceptical, and you know, it might be seen as a cynical move, but it's a feature of the game nowadays. Unfortunately or fortunately, whatever way you want it, it's benefited us there yesterday, last night, which, you know, everyone's happy if it goes the other way around. If it's Ronaldo, we're probably calling him a diver and you know, stuff like that. But I think there was a feature on Monday Night Football, maybe last season, where they called it the dark arts of football, and it's definitely true. You know, you have to have that little bit of cleverness in the game nowadays, because there's just so many. It's just fine margins. It's fine margins, and if we can just have that extra 1 or 2% within the games that gets us over the line, then I'm happy for them to do it, and I'm happy for them to continue to do it, if we can pick up points and goals from them, you know.
Yeah, well, Damien Duff was good at it in the 2002 World Cup, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it might even benefit, talking about the World Cup, it might even benefit Qatar as well, because if you look at their squad, I mean, a lot of them are based in, if they're not all based in their own league, and they wouldn't be probably as streetwise, and this is why they're paying a lot of money to play against European opposition. and you'd be surprised they'll probably learn a lot too from last night, and because they will be in the World Cup next year. Unfortunately, we won't be, and better for them to find it out in a friendly in Dublin than in Doha when the opening match of the World Cup, when they're up against maybe a more streetwise side.
Yeah, no, I would agree, but we kind of, our intensity dropped a bit, and naturally it will, because we were really at them for the first 15 minutes, and we don't normally come out. It was like a bat out of hell, like we were straight at them. It was a great start, and I think the crowd really helped as well. I think the players and the crowd really fed off each other's energy, and I think that was what got us that spark just to start off with. And once the couple of goals went in, and as I said, the Howard ball in for Benny and stuff like that, we were playing quick, entertaining football, but we were also passing the ball and getting the ball up the pitch. And you know, we heard it for so long, oh, we're going to start playing like Brazil with Stephen Kenny, this, that and the other, but you know, we did play very well, patterns of play. A lot of the football we played was enjoyable to watch. We've said continuously throughout, because we've been at games live, we've been lucky enough to work at the games, that there's been performances there. It's just the goals haven't shown for the performance. You know, the goals haven't won us the games that, you know, by and large we've been the better side in games, but we got turned over by the odd goal, or there was a mistake and led to a goal or something like that. Just kept on happening. But in this case, I don't remember Kelleher having a save to make in not just the first half, but probably the whole game. He got the ball back to him a couple of times, and he was just, you know, giving it to a defender, and maybe they were drawing them in and just playing it over the top. But I thought we just looked comfortable at every stage. There was one moment when Matt Doherty does like a step over from a Shane Duffy pass, and then they get in. I think it's El Hoydos gets in, and Shane Duffy just manages to knock it out of play, but he let Matt Doherty know about it when the ball went out of play for the corner. Remember, he toe poked it out for the corner. Yeah, so I watched it back this morning. He was like, "Doc, what are you doing?" So he was obviously not happy with him. But I think at that stage Matt Doherty had picked up a knock. We had one other chance then. It was Ogbene over the bar. He had one in, but it looked like John Egan. There was three of them going for the one ball. It was Duffy, Egan and Ogbene. And maybe if they weren't all going in each other's way, that maybe they would have, one of them would have scored.
Yeah, I thought that hit the bar, did it?
No, that was later on. That was later on.
Okay.
Yeah, from Callum Robinson, but that was later on. But there was one in the box where the three of them went for it. It did look like Egan hit it, but on the replay it was actually Ogbene. Then I have there in the 39th minute excellent play by Robinson then to Ogbene. He hits the crossbar because he cuts in off the left, and again like he did with his goal, and he hits that similar to the way he shot, but it was a whip cross into the box, and Ogbene heads it onto the bar. I mean, another day it goes in. It's just one of them. But like as I said, we were the ones piling on the pressure, and then I have the 44th minute. There was two really good tackles in our box as well. Alma Bamadelli makes a really good challenge in our box to win the ball cleanly, and then McGrath makes a really good challenge on the edge of our box as well. So we're going in at half time 2-0 up, very, very comfortable. How were you feeling at half time? And I get your thoughts then, Andy, after.
Yeah, I mean, I was feeling great at half time. I felt the game was effectively already won at that stage, because I didn't think they really struggled to live with us especially in the first 15 minutes. They just couldn't. Now, as I said, they did come back in more into the game. I think they had an effort wide as well, but I really felt, and as it panned out, that we were going to win the game comfortably. I was delighted with the performance, and also delighted with the atmosphere of the game, because it was a brilliant atmosphere, and it was great to be just even great to be there and to experience it. And so at half time I was feeling great. I just said, let's hope there's more goals on the way, which of course it proved to be the case.
Yeah, Andy, what were you thinking when you saw the scoreline at 2-0? What were you thinking?
It's probably an unusual sight for Irish fans to be 2-0 up at half time and actually enjoying the game. So look, it's a lot of positivity, and I hope the players were feeling that as well. And as I mentioned earlier on, I think there was a sense in the team, especially that there was a couple more goals, maybe that a few more chances that were definitely going to come in the second half. But you know, like as an Irish fan, as players and management, you can't be disappointed going in 2-0 at half time. You know, it's a great start, but more importantly, it's how they started the game with the high energy, the high press, the creating opportunities, and as Gary mentioned there, the fans, the crowd, where everyone was behind them. So like it was a good, you know, positive atmosphere. So You know, as I said, it's probably a long time since we've had something like that. So it was great to have it.
Yeah, I think that the feel-good factor was there at half-time. There was so many people there. I mean, it was 25,749, yeah. So, like, there was so many people there. I know you're flabbergasted the fact that it did sell out in the end, but delighted as well. But I think that showed, and I think, you know, the players really turned up for the fans in this game. I think, look, half-time Christie came on for Matt Doherty, and then there wasn't really that much, you know, going on. I have then the 50th minute, we make 39 passes for the goal. I watched like literally every pass and counted them myself, and then the ball eventually comes to Jeff Hendrick, who I thought was really good last night and really drove into a lot of spaces, which we don't normally see him doing, and hopefully that's the thing that we'll start seeing him doing more often now going forward. He had that bit of confidence playing for Ireland. I know he's not really getting in at Newcastle, but he's been playing the last number of games under Stephen Kenny really well, and he must seem to get a lot of confidence in him and believe in him. I think that's what he's probably lacked. But anyway, he gives a super ball to Callum Robinson and a super finish as well. But yeah, it's only kind of when I watched the goal back, I didn't realise watching it in real time how good of a goal it was till I actually watched it back, and then I counted up the passes that led up to the goal.
Yeah, I didn't. I'll take your word for it in the number of passes. Somebody on Twitter claimed it was 38. But another stat was...
Stephen Kenny said 39 after the game as well.
Yeah. You've said 39 as well. I'll take your word for it. Someone else had another stat, I think, was it against Georgia in the first half? In one of the games on the Mick, we had 79 passes.
Yeah, journalist or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had 39 passes now for that goal. And I would say that without having watched it back and counted all the passes, I can't believe there was a better one than Jeff Hendricks, because that was a real, as I described it afterwards, a slide rule pass, and it was absolutely perfect for Callum Robinson. Now, as you say, an excellent finish as well, but I think Jeff's pass made that goal, you know, and it was it was a joy to watch. And obviously we were saying at 2-0 the game was over, at 3-0 it was put to bed completely.
I know you've been critical of Stephen Kenny and stuff like that, when people were going, oh, you can't pass with this team, you can't do this and that. But I think if ever there was a goal to kind of embody what Stephen Kenny's trying to do, I think that was it. He's never really had his the squad that he would really like at his disposal, because COVID's just coming at awful time. I think any manager would have struggled with what he's had to put up with. But, you know, without making excuses or anything like that, you know, when you saw that goal go in, you had to have been impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as I mentioned,
I know you're not Kenny out, by the way.
Yeah, no. It's sometimes when you're you try to be a little bit of a realist in football, and you don't want to be a dampener all the time. You know, you don't want to be sucking the air out of the room, and you know, but like the quality of a team like Qatar, we should be keeping possession. We should be putting those sort of strings of passes together. But what is really positive is that there's an end product to it. So, you know, we can keep the ball for 39 passes, but as Gary mentioned there, it's that Hendrick pass forward that creates the opportunity to score a goal, and it hits the back of the net. That's a huge positive, and I'm delighted for Kenny, I'm delighted for the players, I'm delighted for everyone involved, because obviously I know how hard they've worked to get to that. And as you mentioned there, that's proof of what we're trying to do, what the philosophy that they're trying to stamp on this Irish team. And it's great that they can actually look back and say that there was fruits to what they were actually trying to do over the last, say, 18 months to 2 years. It's been tough, as you mentioned already. He hasn't had the personnel. He's had COVID situations. COVID in itself has been a disruption. But now to actually see those coming through, those good performances, it's a positive that you can only really take positives from it, albeit that the quality of the opposition weren't fantastic last night. They're no mugs, Qatar. They're a decent side. They've some really good players, but you know, we should be keeping possession against sides like Qatar.
No, that is a fair point, and I think we struggled against them after we went 1-0 up against them in Hungary. I think we struggled against them a bit.
Yeah, no, they were probably better in Hungary.
Yeah,
I mean, they are the Asian champions, and I mean, to win the Asian championship, they had to be. No, I can't actually remember. I think it was Japan they beat in the final, but
I think you're right.
They had to obviously do better than the likes of Australia, Japan, South Korea, Iran. Who are all
good sides,
decent enough sides that regularly compete at World Cups, and then they played in the CONCACAF Gold Cup, and they got to the semi-finals. I think they lost out to the United States, and again, I mean, okay, the final is nearly always USA and Mexico, but Qatar again got to the semi-finals. So there are no mugs. I mean, I think they were definitely a step up from Azerbaijan, even though we played better and obviously won more comfortably. But I mean, obviously there are no Portugal either, and next month will be a huge test. But look, in this window we did everything that could have been asked and more. I mean, to score the 7 goals, 2 clean sheets, it couldn't have gone any better. So,
but I think he's putting a lot of things to bed. Like I think wasn't the last penalty we got and scored was Brady against France in Euro 2016. And then there was another, the last hat-trick since Robbie Keane in 2014, I think it was.
Against Gibraltar,
yeah, so like he's slowly knocking some of these things out of the way, because they were just kind of hindrances, and people are, you know, holding on to them. Oh, we don't score this and we don't do that. But they're slowly getting them out of the way, you know. And I think
the big thing though is, and the massive thing is to qualify for the next Euros.
Yeah, absolutely.
Germany in 2020.
Oh, yeah, we know that, but like,
and that's where, if Stephen Kenny remains in the job, that's where he is going to be judged by success or failure. I mean, you can score the hat-tricks, you can win 40 friendlies all you want, but it's and that's going to be, that means that 2023 is going to be an absolutely massive year.
Well, I think Gary as well. We've got to remember that, you know, a week ago we were saying if he didn't come out this international window strongly, there could be a case where he could be looking at it. Now he's came out stronger than anyone probably could, and I'm delighted for him, and I hope he continues it into the next international window. Now I just want to talk about the last goal, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about him kind of collectively over the international window. Duffy's goal, which he starts because he gets a lovely long diagonal over the top to Callum Robinson. I think that's the difference as well. We spoke about, you know, playing long ball, and when we used to play long ball, it was just literally a straight ball up to the top to our striker. But now there's these diagonal balls, like Virgil van Dijk's very good at hitting them for Liverpool players, but Callum Robinson takes it down really well, wins a corner, and then Howard takes up a lovely corner, and Shane Duffy is wrestling with your man Hussam again, and he put your man to bed, and bang, goal. 4-0 at that stage. Everybody was delighted for Shane Duffy. Everybody seems to love Shane Duffy because he embodies everything about an Irish player that you want. His heart, his passion, he gets you a goal. He puts his body on the line for everything. He throws himself in front of everything, and he never really looked like he was ever going to let anything get past him last night. At any point, he always looked in control. And John Egan and Omar Bamadelli, and them three are starting to get a really good understanding, which I kind of like that he's stuck with them. And he still has quality to go in there, like Nathan Collins. You said before about Kieran Clark, if he needs to come in. You've got Darragh O'Shea when he comes back from injury, Seamus Coleman. Did I say Nathan Collins?
Yeah,
okay. So there's more there. There's probably more as well. But we obviously know our better players are in defence. But the fact is that our attacking players are starting to show promise. Jamie McGrath will probably get a move off the back of this international window alone for January because he was sensational. So yeah, really happy with the way. There's not a whole lot in terms of the game after that. Game kind of petered off after a bit. Ogbene came off for Jason Knight, got a lovely ovation, which I was delighted to see as well. Collins and Parrott, Nathan Collins and Troy Park come on for Duffy and Robinson in the 76th minute. Hendrick has an effort that he fires over, which probably should have hit the target, but anyway, we let him away because he had a really good game. Then the 87th minute, Howard comes on for Arthur, Jamie McGrath comes off, and Arthur comes on for Howard, and James Collins comes on for Jamie McGrath, and that was really it. And then Hendrick had a daisy cutter in the 91st minute, and that was really it in regards to the chances and stuff like that. But let's talk about Kenny in the international window, kind of as a collective. You know, the 2 games, a clean sheet, 7 goals, couldn't have went any better. But it's important we take the momentum into the next window.
I mean, it's and you see, the last window, okay, we finished it on a high, probably with the late equaliser against Serbia, maybe a little bit undeserved, but
I think you get a bit of luck because we were so unlucky.
Being so unlucky in Faro, but then you had the downer of the Azerbaijan. So depending on what way this window went, you could be looking at it 2 ways. I mean, the way to look at it now is we've lost one of our last 8 games, and have had 2 excellent, really positive performances, 2 clean sheets, very comfortable at the back, and scored 7 goals. And you're talking about Shane Duffy, who I thought was absolutely excellent, and I did mention that in one of my 3 talking points. One of the good things about Shane Duffy is he's no longer our main goal threat. Obviously, it's Callum Robinson now, which is good because you don't want to be reliant.
But he also has Egan there as well as a threat. As we saw
they're both a
threat.
Yeah, I mean, but our main threat, frankly, up to last week was either John Egan or Shane Duffy from a corner or a set piece. So that does limit your opportunities a lot. Now, I mean, with Callum Robinson, who scored 5 goals in this window, and he's obviously a major threat now as well. And hopefully Dozie Ogbene as well, who I thought played really well. I know my Limerick bias, but he played really well when he got the chance off the bench and starting. So, look, I think now, and I actually go back, and I've gone back a few times to Michael O'Neill's time when he left Shamrock Rovers and took over the Northern Ireland job. And his qualifying campaign for the World Cup in 2014 was, if you look at the results, was an absolute disaster. I think it was 1 point out of 6 against Luxembourg, and they actually played Azerbaijan as well, and they didn't win any of those games. I think they did beat Russia actually, but the key thing about those was the performances were there. Now, he probably had the performances a bit earlier than Stephen, but the performances were there, and the fans, the IFA, etc., could see things were moving forward, and they did stick with him. And then that went on to the Euro 2016 campaign when they really started with a bang, winning away to Hungary and everything, and went on and topped the group and qualified probably with ease for Euro 2016. And he's obviously gone on since and proven very unlucky by a terrible refereeing decision not to qualify for Russia. And he's doing a fine job at Stoke as well. And I think that'll be the decision for the FAI now. Are the performances improving enough that they stick with Stephen? And I think that probably the smart thing, the obvious thing to do at this point is Stephen has a contract till the end of June. And I had been saying that maybe the decision would be made at the end of this campaign. Unless things go drastically wrong in November, which then do you bring back up some of the performances and results last year, or Luxembourg at home in March, or do you say, look, there were clear signs of improvement in September and October in particular, and he has a contract till the end of June anyway. The fans are clearly behind Stephen with the banners, and not just that. I thought the number of people who turned up for a Qatar friendly on a Tuesday night, it was 10,000 more than I expected, at least, if not 12 to 15 more than I predicted. And that's got to be a vote of confidence for Stephen Kenny.
The chance for Stephen Kenny as well. The chance.
Oh, the chance. The chance. So the fans were clearly behind him with the banners, the chants, etc. So I would think the easy decision for the FAI now would be to say, well, he has a contract till the end of June, and we'll take a look at the end of June, because at that point you've got next November's window, you've got a couple of March friendlies. I believe one of those is going to be a glamour one against one of the top teams to celebrate the centenary. I don't know who the second one is going to be. It could be home or away. But crucially and absolutely vital next year is the Nations League.
Yeah.
We've 4 games in June. And I think the Nations League is hugely important for possibly getting us a playoff for Euro 2024 if we don't qualify directly out of the group. And for our UEFA ranking, for everything, we certainly cannot afford to get relegated in the Nations League. So those matches next June are going to be absolutely crucial. Stephen has a contract till the end of June, and I would think, if you're asking me to predict, I would guess the FAI at this point will just wait until the end of June to make a decision on Stephen's future, and we will have a lot better indication then on how. But I mean, if you've got performances like we've had in this window, it will be a very easy decision to make.
It's not like they have a lot of money to be picking and choosing. Anyway, Andy, just I suppose touching on what Gary said, have you anything to add to it?
Yeah, I think from an international break point of view, Stephen couldn't have planned it any better, to be perfectly honest with you. A good performance, 2 good performances, 2 good wins, goals, clean sheets. It ticks all the boxes in terms of what he wanted. Again, not to be too negative about it, but there are two big games coming up against Portugal and Luxembourg. So they will probably be the decider. Anyone that was sort of on the fence or was sort of leaning towards a Kenny out situation this weekend might have kind of just reeled them in a small bit, but that could go again. And it's really football management, football in general can change like so quickly. If we go and have a bad performance against Portugal, and hopefully touch wood we don't, and then Luxembourg is probably the biggest decider, because nobody really probably expects us to take anything from Portugal, but Luxembourg would like a good performance and maybe a result out of that and then build onto it. But as Gary mentioned there, I think we definitely, I would be in favour of just seeing it out, seeing his contract out to the end and making a decision then. No knee-jerk reaction for or against them until that point, and we'll just sit down and assess it and see how we go from there. On something that Gary also mentioned, I would like to see us prioritising the Nations League route rather than anything else. I think if we can go that way and get the qualifier from that position, I think that's something that we definitely need to look at. Who's in charge for that? That'll obviously, that's still up for debate, but that's definitely. But again, going back to the break itself, it couldn't have gone any better. I was delighted for everyone involved, all those that made their debuts, that got more experience, that scored. It was just an all-round good performance and a good international window for everybody in an Irish shirt.
Yeah, well, I think the thing you mentioned there about prioritising the Nations League, we couldn't do that last year because there was too many players to be bedded in.
Yeah.
Now this time around, they're going to have a full campaign under their belts. Well, the majority of them, I think Nathan Collins was the 13th player Stephen Kenny gave his debut to. Correct me if I'm wrong; it could be 14th. But the amount of players that he's brought through that we haven't seen before, that we've been crying out for players like Gunnar Trapattoni, Seamus Coleman took so long to come in, James McLean took so long to come in. Probably Hendrick and that took a long time to come in as well. Under that kind of time frame. And then they're the experienced players, but there's nothing underneath them now. Those players have a campaign under their belts. Some of them have come in and look like they've been internationals their whole career. Like Omar Bamidele, he's not even played that many, senior games, and he's come in, he's a full international now. Darragh O'Shea, the same, I think he's going to be an excellent player for us. If Duffy and Egan step out, we've got Nathan Collins and Darragh O'Shea to come in, and Seamus Coleman. So I think we're going into the next campaign of the Nations League at least very much more optimistic, and I think he can prioritise things, and I think you might even see some more players kind of develop in that time as well, and attackers hopefully, because we look at our wing backs and stuff like that aren't that young. A lot of our better wing backs, Matt Doherty's 29, Enda Stevens, I think he's 31, Seamus 33, but he's kind of settling more as a kind of right centre back in the back three. But anyway, you're right. So I think we need to start seeing players maybe stepping up that bit more. Maybe McNamara at Millwall would play that right side, and then you've got Ryan Manning on the left, and maybe they can up their game a little bit too by playing regular championship football in that time frame as well. But look, I think we're in a really good position now. I think the FAI should do as both of you have said in regards to making the decision. There's no point unless we get hammered by Luxembourg, which I can't imagine we get hammered.
I'd be more interested in the performances as well. I mean, look, Portugal, the game is actually crucial for Portugal because our group is actually really interesting and fascinating, not our point of view. But Portugal and Serbia are going, one of them is going to qualify for the World Cup and the other is going to have a really tricky playoff.
Yeah.
And Portugal have to come to Dublin and win, because otherwise they could be in a situation where Serbia go to Portugal and needing a draw to top the group. So it's absolutely crucial that Portugal come here and beat us. And look, they are a top side, and Ronaldo is arguably the best player in the world, even at his age. What is it, 36, 37? So I'm not... you're not going to sack the manager if we lose to Portugal, but I would like to see a performance against Portugal. And I would also very much like to see a really good performance when we go to Luxembourg, because look, there are people I know as well who are absolute. It's become a cult at this stage that Kenny must stay, and they were defending that performance and result against Luxembourg at home. Luxembourg are rubbish. I'm sorry. They have one or two players playing in the Champions League. I know the guy got the goal for Sheriff and everything like that, but they're very, very ordinary players who are not a patch on our players. So I would like to see a performance in Luxembourg, a real performance.
I'd love to see a win,
and I'd like to see a win. Yeah, I think we should be going to places like Luxembourg and winning. And people say they only lost by a goal to this game or whatever like that. Yeah, but they still lose. You know, I mean, if we go and win by a goal, that's fine. And sometimes you come a cropper against these teams, but we should be going to Luxembourg and winning. Luxembourg just took, Serbia and Portugal comfortably disposed of them. Was it 5 Portugal got last night? They had 3 in the first 10 or 15 minutes. The game was put to bed straight away. In the same way we put Qatar to bed, you know, so we should be able to go to Luxembourg and win. And even from a very selfish point of view, I'd really like if Azerbaijan could get something from Luxembourg, because I would not like to see a group where we finish 4th behind Luxembourg. I know finishing 3rd means absolutely nothing.
Pride, yeah.
But just from pride and everything, I would like to see us finish ahead of Luxembourg in the group. Now, probably it's out of our hands unless we do something against Portugal as well, but hopefully we'd actually go and beat Luxembourg, and if they don't win in Azerbaijan, that would be enough to finish 3rd, which just from a pride perspective would be nice. And then you do take it into next year, and at that point I think if the performances continue at the level we've seen, I think it'll be an easy decision to give Stephen a new contract. But I think from the FAI, from a financial situation, from every situation, they have to pay Stephen until the end of June anyway, and there are clear signs that things are improving. So I think the logical, the sensible thing to do, or the easy thing to do probably, would be to say we'll make the decision at the end of June. Now I know there are people who are very much Kenny out and say he's not up to the job and they want him out in November. I don't think that's going to hold sway because of the clear improvements. As I said, 1 defeat in 8 matches, if you want to look at it in a positive way. And but I think by the time next June comes around, there'll be another 8 matches played. 2 in November, 2 in March, and then 4 absolutely crucial Nations League games. And we'll know much better where we stand then. And if the decision is Stephen's the man, I think you can give him a new contract in June. I mean, I can be very cynical as well. And if I look at it from the FAI's point of view, they certainly don't need to give Stephen a new contract at this stage.
No.
Because there isn't going to be anybody else.
You?
Yeah, you don't need to. I mean, there isn't going to be anybody else.
There's not enough heat on him at the moment to force their hand to make that decision.
Yeah.
You know, there's not enough. I think it's sort of a split.
I think it suits both people.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think the decision it's sort of split. I think it actually probably suits Kenny in terms of it'll give him that extra few months. There'll be no pressure on him either way. You know, so.
Well, I imagine Stephen wants a new contract. You know, I mean.
But you could say that results up to date haven't warranted a new contract. So look, I think for both parties, it makes sense. Just the way he said he's concentrating on results, which is what he should be doing. And they said they'll review it in November or something like that, and then they'll go from there. But I think, look, the Luxembourg game is the crucial one.
It is, yeah.
And I think we just go from there. There's no point in speculating about anything else until that game is played, and hopefully we're talking about a result. We're quite good away from home. I actually just want to speak about Didi Hamann and Lisa Fallon.
Yeah.
They really good punditry last night on RTE, and they were just speaking about, you know, how Stephen has shown different ways to win games. Like there was times where we were passing the ball, the short throw in, the passes, and then the goal. Then there was long balls, then there was set pieces. So we're showing different ways of scoring goals, not just one-dimensional stuff. So, which has been the case. Set piece, Shane Duffy goal. That was one of our goals last night. But the other 3, the one with Hendrick and to Robinson, that was a good move and a good play and stuff like that. So I think it's important to know that we are finding different ways.
Well, that's a very positive way to look at it. But if you actually go back last month, the second half against Azerbaijan, where we were a goal down, it was hoof the ball into the box.
Yeah, but I think they learned from that.
Well, hopefully we have learned, because it was totally different, obviously, this month. And we, as you said, 39 passes for the goal. So, it's.
I think you have to take each game on its merits, though, because you know, I don't think we're going to be seeing that much possession against, say, Portugal, where we might have to go a little bit more direct and turn them. And you know, we got a bit of joy off in the last game is getting in behind. So each game,
it's interesting that Aaron Connolly didn't play as well.
Yeah, exactly. But in fairness, the who was it? Ida up front for against Portugal in the first game.
Yeah,
he caused a lot of trouble. You know, so it's sort of. I heard someone. I'm not too sure who it was in the post match analysis. It's sort of horses for courses, depending on who the opposition is. But it does make it is a valid point what both Haman and Lisa are meant. Like, we're finding different ways to try and win the game. Okay, it hasn't been working up until this weekend, but at least we're trying those alternative options, you know. And we do always have that option of throwing Egan or Duffy up front if we do need to go that little bit more direct in the last 10 minutes to chase a result. I'm not against that. You know, I'm not against that as a fan. If it works, it works. You know, ideally we want to be playing those 39 passes and slipping it through and putting it into the net. It's not going to happen like that, especially in qualifying games and in actual meaningful games. You're not going to get that time against good opposition, so you need to find different ways. And it is a good point, but like, to be honest with you, I don't really care how we win once we win. You know,
I mean, I just want to see us win, and that's all that matters. And if it has to be by Shane Duffy getting ahead in the corner of John Egan, so what? Brilliant, you know. And okay, it's great to see a goal like last night with the 39 passes, and but the main thing is that we score and we win. And the more ways we have of scoring, obviously, the better. And so it will tell a lot. But we will obviously be under the cosh a lot against Portugal. We will be a lot more defensive, and
we're worried about that when it comes around.
Yeah, and even if they do beat us, even if they come and do a number on us, I mean, I wouldn't actually be too concerned about that. But I would really like to see a very good performance, and we're and us to be very positive and just put Luxembourg to the sword, because. I mean, frankly, if I have to listen to there are fans of Stephen Kenny now saying he should be getting a new contract straight away on the back of last night, but saying that Luxembourg are a top side and all this, and we should be used to losing to teams like that. I mean, that's just off the wall cult stuff, you know, at that point. But we should be going to Luxembourg, and I think we will. If we follow on the performances that we had in this window, we'll just go to Luxembourg and beat them comfortably. And I think we'll, with the crowd behind us, hopefully a full house in the Aviva, we can give Portugal a good game, if not get a good result. And look, we're at least capable of getting a draw against Portugal as well on a good night. And so who knows? We nearly won in Faro, so you never know at home.
Yeah, anything to add?
No, I think, as Gary, I think the Portugal game is we're just looking for a good performance. More positives, more, you know, if we get beaten, we get beaten. No one's expecting us to win anyway, because it's such a big, huge fixture for Portugal their point of view. But you know, a good performance, a good solid, not to be getting lashed out of a 4 or 5. You know, if we were beaten by the odd goal and we had a good performance, and then going into the Luxembourg game with a good performance and hopefully a win, I think, you know, again, it'll definitely be in the favour of Stephen Kenny.
Yeah, I think if we can match a similar performance like in Faro, but maybe get a better result in the end, or get the revenge. But the players might hold on to that little bit of revenge and maybe try and level it up that little bit more. But it remains to be seen. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. We're going to wrap it up there. I think we've been going long enough. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Huge thanks to Andy for joining us in studio. And if you'd like to join us in studio as well, let us know. Get in touch with us, and we're happy to let people come in and have a chat with us as well, have their say. So don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll speak to you all soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.